Hi and welcome to Debt Tale. This is Rebecca Bautista and this video is on the Vantage score. We'll just be going over what is a Vantage score, how do they create or generate a Vantage score, how do they rank a Vantage score. So let's get started. All right, so let's talk about what is a Vantage score. So basically you just need to think that the Vantage score is the latest competition to the FICO score. It came out in 2007 and it is now currently on its fourth iteration. On previous models, they kind of went by a different numerical numbering, so it still was 3 digits, but it didn't line up with FICO. But because again, FICO right now at 90% of all lending decisions, they match. So now they go by that 300 to 850 range as well. So what makes it different is again, just the way that they aggregate your score. So what that means is how do they look at the data presented from the credit bureaus, and then how do they weigh it to figure out whether or not you are a trustworthy borrower. With the Vantage score, they claim to be more inclusive because they are able to capture newer borrowers. With FICO, it takes 6 months to generate a score. With Vantage score, it takes about 2 months worth of credit history to start creating a score. So in that regard, it is beneficial for newer borrowers. All right, so the current iteration of Vantage score is Vantage 4.0. What it uses is again AI learning, and they use trended data. So they're looking across a longer period of time when they create these scores, which for borrowers can be beneficial because it will be focused on your past shopping or debt borrowing behaviors and looking for trends. Again, what it also does is it looks across your whole credit history instead of just a snapshot. With FICO, just the regular FICO, it just looks within the last 12 months of that time. So how does the Vantage score collect data? Well, it collects data across, again, the 3 main credit bureaus, but the way that it weighs your credit is across 6 factors. Previous models had a bundling where a couple of factors were put together, and that was called an umbrella term of amounts owed, but the percentages that I'm presenting are all relevant to the Vantage score 4.0. All right, so amounts owed is a total of 28%, and that includes utilization, balances, and available credit. Right now, it's 20% for utilization. It is the proportion of the amount of credit you have used that was available to you. So you take your current balance and divide it by the available balance, and that gives you the percentage that you have used. 6% of that is balances, and that is just how much money do you currently owe. And that also includes stuff that is delinquent. So what I mean by that is anything that is in collections is accounted for in this balance category. Last one is available credit, which is 2%, and that just means how much money are lenders willing to lend you. Next, which is the biggest category, is your payment history, and that accounts for 41% of your score. So is it an important factor? Yes, it's a very important factor, and that looks at how are you paying your debts? Are you paying your minimum payments? Are you paying on time? Are you paying late? Have you been delinquent so you haven't paid for a while? Do you have things going into collections? All of this is accounted for. Next is depth of credit, and that's 20%. It is credit age and mix of credit combined, which is credit age, so how long have you had the account, and then mix of credit, which is again a mix of if it's installment, if it is revolving lines of credit, all of that good stuff mixed together. The last category is called new credit, which counts for 11% of your score, and that's just the number of recently opened accounts, because again, the more recently that you have opened, it can potentially signal financial distress, or in the case of you are just a brand spanking new person who is starting to generate credit, then they will take into account, oh hey, they're new, so they're opening up lines of credit, and therefore they are trying to establish. All right, so how is your Vantage score ranked? So it kind of has 2 terms. There is the prime scale, which is verbiage used by a lender, and then colloquially there is the good, bad. So the lowest score ranking that you could have is subprime, or in colloquially poor or bad credit. That is the score between 300 and 600. For a score of 601 to 660, then you have near prime, and that's like the fair okay. And then we have prime, which is equivalent to like good. That is 661 to 780. Super prime or excellent, and that is a score of 781 all the way to 850. That's all we have for a Vantage score. I hope that this video was helpful. There are banks and lenders that are starting to use the Vantage score because it does have that perk of being able to capture newer borrowers. On a weekly basis, I am posting videos. Please subscribe and hit that little bell icon so that way you will get a notification every time I post a video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I am more than happy to make a video based off of your questions, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.